The last person Dr. Maya Chen expected to find in her laboratory at 3 a.m. was an alien, especially not one that looked like living crystal and glowed with the intensity of 1,000 stars. Yet there she was, hovering 3 feet off the ground, her crystalline form refracting the harsh fluorescent lights into rainbow patterns across the stark white walls of the quantum physics lab. Maya blinked hard, then took off her glasses and cleaned them with the edge of her lab coat. When she put them back on, the alien was still there. "I must have fallen asleep at my desk again," she muttered, running a hand through her disheveled black hair. "You are very much awake, Dr. Maya Chen," the crystalline being said, her voice resonating like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "I am Lyria of the Crystalline Collective, and I need your help." Maya's scientific mind kicked into overdrive, pushing aside her initial shock. She grabbed her tablet and started taking notes. "How do you know my name? How did you get past security? Are you actually made of crystal, or is this some kind of projection? What's your molecular structure? Do you—" "Please," Lyria interrupted, her form dimming slightly. "I understand your curiosity. It's why I chose you. But time is limited." She descended to the floor, her crystalline feet making a soft chiming sound as they touched the tile. "I've been watching your research on quantum entanglement. You're closer than anyone else to understanding the principles that my people mastered millennia ago." Maya's eyes widened. Her latest paper on quantum mechanics had been rejected by every major scientific journal for being too theoretical, too impossible. "You mean it actually works? The quantum bridge theory?" "Yes, but that's not why I'm here." Lyria's form shifted, colors swirling within her crystalline body like an aurora. "I'm being pursued. On my world, I am unique. My crystalline structure can amplify and store quantum energy in ways that make me highly desirable for breeding purposes." Her voice took on a bitter edge. "I've spent the last cycle fleeing from suitors who see me as nothing more than a genetic prize." Maya set down her tablet, her scientific curiosity giving way to empathy. She knew what it felt like to be valued for your abilities rather than who you were. "So you came to Earth. But why me specifically?" "Because you understand isolation," Lyria said softly. "I've observed how your peers mock your theories, how you work alone in this lab night after night, pursuing truth regardless of what others think. And," her form brightened momentarily, "you talk to your equipment." Maya felt her cheeks flush. "You heard that. Your conversation with the quantum accelerator last week was quite entertaining, especially the part where you threatened to turn it into a coffee maker." Despite herself, Maya laughed. Well, it was being stubborn. She studied Lyria with new eyes, noting how the crystalline being's form seemed to pulse in rhythm with her own heartbeat. "So what kind of help do you need?" "Sanctuary for now," Lyria replied. "And perhaps understanding. My pursuers are powerful, resourceful, and believe they are entitled to claim me. They'll track me here eventually, but Earth's quantum signature is chaotic. It will take them time." Maya ran her fingers through her hair again, a nervous habit she'd never managed to break. "I'm not exactly equipped to hide an alien. My apartment barely has room for me and my cat." "Your laboratory will suffice," Lyria said. "The quantum fields from your experiments will help mask my signature. And—" she hesitated, her form flickering slightly. "I find your presence calming. Most beings I encounter either desire to possess me or fear me. You just want to understand." Maya smiled, reaching out instinctively before pulling her hand back. "Sorry, can I? Would it hurt you if I touched your surface?" "No," Lyria said, extending what appeared to be a hand. "But you might find it intense." Maya gently pressed her fingertips against Lyria's crystalline surface. A jolt of energy shot through her body, not painful but exhilarating, like every cell in her body had suddenly woken up. Colors and sensations she had no words for flooded her mind. "That's amazing," Maya whispered, reluctantly pulling her hand back. The quantum entanglement patterns in your structure, they're like nothing I'd ever. I mean, she shook her head, trying to focus. Sorry. Scientist mode. You need sanctuary, not analysis. Lyria's form brightened in what Maya was beginning to recognize as amusement. Perhaps we can help each other. You seek understanding of the quantum universe, and I seek understanding of humanity. This could be a mutually beneficial arrangement. Maya looked around her lab, mentally calculating how she could rearrange things to accommodate her new guest. She'd need to adjust her schedule, find a way to explain any unusual readings to her supervisors, and figure out how to smuggle in extra power supplies for whatever Lyria needed to maintain her form. It would be complicated, possibly dangerous, and definitely beyond anything she'd trained for. Okay, she said, already starting to make lists in her head. But fair warning, if you're going to stay here, you're going to have to get used to terrible jokes and coffee-fueled science rambles at 3 a.m. I look forward to both, Lyria replied, her crystalline form pulsing with what seemed like genuine warmth. Though I must ask, what is coffee? Maya grinned. Oh, you're in for a treat. Just, maybe don't tell your pursuers that Earth's primary defense is caffeine-powered scientists. As the sun began to rise outside the laboratory windows, casting prismatic reflections through Lyria's form, Maya realized her life had just become exponentially more complicated and infinitely more interesting. She had no idea how to hide an alien fugitive, let alone one that looked like a living diamond, but she did know one thing. She wasn't going to let anyone treat Lyria like a prize to be won. Not if she could help it. The quantum accelerator hummed in the corner, and Maya could have sworn it sounded approving. 2 weeks into harboring an alien fugitive, Maya had learned several important things. Lyria didn't need to eat but was fascinated by the concept of food. Her crystalline form could bend light to become nearly invisible when necessary, and she had an insatiable curiosity about human behavior that rivaled Maya's own scientific interests. I still don't understand, Lyria said, hovering near Maya's workstation as the scientist typed up her latest research findings. Why do humans insist on working during their designated rest periods? Maya glanced at the clock, 1 a.m., and took another sip of her coffee. Because science doesn't sleep, and neither do breakthrough ideas. She gestured at her mug. Besides, that's what coffee is for. Ah yes, the mysterious stimulant that makes you talk faster and gesture more enthusiastically. Lyria's form shimmered with amusement. I've been analyzing its effects on your molecular structure. The chemical reactions are concerning, says the living crystal who can manipulate quantum fields. Maya retorted with a grin. She'd gotten used to Lyria's presence in the lab, even finding comfort in the soft chiming sounds the alien made when she moved, and the way her crystalline form cast ever-changing patterns on the walls. Their comfortable routine was interrupted by a sudden alert from Maya's computer. Multiple satellites had detected an unusual energy signature entering the solar system. Lyria's form dimmed immediately, her usually bright colors fading to muted tones. They're earlier than I expected, she whispered, her voice carrying an unfamiliar note of fear. The quantum masking field should have bought us more time. Maya quickly pulled up the data, her fingers flying over the keyboard. 3 ships, based on the energy readings. They're still beyond Mars orbit, but they're moving fast. She looked up at Lyria, whose form had contracted slightly, making her appear smaller. Your suitors, I assume. Yes, the largest signature will be Nexer's vessel. He's persistent. The others are likely Valen and Crix. Lyria's form flickered with what Maya had come to recognize as distress. They're members of the Crystal Court's highest houses. They believe joining their bloodline with my unique abilities would create powerful offspring. Well, they can't have you, Maya said firmly, surprising herself with the fierce protectiveness in her voice. She stood up, pacing as she thought. We need to contact someone. The government, the military, someone who can help. No. Lyria's cry sent a resonant wave through the lab, making the equipment vibrate. If your authorities become involved, it will only escalate the situation. The crystal court would see it as a hostile action by your species. Then what do we do? Maya ran her hands through her perpetually messy hair, her mind racing. We can't just wait for them to show up and take you away. Lyria drifted closer to Maya, her form gradually brightening again. There might be a way. Your quantum bridge theory. With my knowledge and your insights, we could potentially create a defense system, something that would make it impossible for them to force me to leave. Maya's eyes widened as she understood what Lyria was suggesting. You want to quantum entangle yourself with Earth. Is that even possible? Theoretically, it would create a resonance that would make separating me from this planet extremely painful, possibly fatal. They wouldn't risk it. Lyria's colors swirled faster, excited. But it would require precise calculations and trust. Trust? Maya asked, already pulling up her research notes. The entanglement would need an anchor point, a human consciousness to bind with. Lyria's form pulsed softly. You, Maya. It would have to be you. Maya's fingers froze over the keyboard. Me? But what would that mean? For both of us. A connection, not quite telepathy, but a constant awareness of each other. Sharing of emotions, sometimes thoughts. Lyria moved closer, her light casting a soft glow over Maya's face. It would be intimate, permanent. Maya's heart raced as she considered the implications. A permanent quantum connection with an alien being. It was either brilliantly insane or insanely brilliant. The scientist in her was fascinated by the possibility. The human in her was terrified. And something else, something deeper, was hopeful. Would it hurt? She asked, trying to focus on practical concerns. The process would be intense, but not painful. Afterward, Lyria's form shimmered with what might have been uncertainty. I've never done anything like this before. None of my kind has. The results would be unpredictable. Maya laughed softly. Unpredictable is basically my middle name at this point. I mean, I'm already hiding an alien fugitive in my lab and drinking way too much coffee. Might as well add quantum entanglement to the mix. You're not afraid? Lyria asked, her tone curious. Oh, I'm terrified, Maya admitted, but not of connecting with you. I'm afraid of what happens if we don't try. She stood up, squaring her shoulders. Those ships will be here in, 3 days? Approximately 72 of your hours, yes. Then we better get to work. Maya cracked her knuckles and headed for the quantum accelerator. I hope you're ready for some serious science, because we're about to attempt the most ambitious experiment in human history. Maya, Lyria called softly, causing the scientist to turn back. Thank you. Most beings run from the unknown. You embrace it. Maya smiled, feeling a warmth in her chest that had nothing to do with coffee. That's what scientists do. We look at the impossible and say, why not? She patted the quantum accelerator affectionately. Besides, you haven't seen me run yet. I trip over my own feet. As they began their preparations, Maya couldn't help but wonder what she was getting herself into. Quantum entanglement with an alien being wasn't exactly covered in her PhD program. But as she watched Lyria's crystalline form dance with excitement as they worked, she realized she didn't care about the risks. Some things were worth being brave for. The clock was ticking, and somewhere beyond Mars, 3 ships were drawing closer, carrying beings who thought they could claim someone's heart by right of power or birth. Maya intended to prove them wrong, with science. The quantum accelerator hummed with an ominous intensity as Maya made the final adjustments. 48 hours had passed since they detected the approaching ships, and dark circles under her eyes testified to her lack of sleep. But there was no time for rest, not when they were attempting to rewrite the laws of physics. The quantum field is stabilizing, Lyria announced, her crystalline form pulsing in sync with the machine's frequencies. But there's something wrong with the resonance pattern. Maya squinted at her calculations, trying to ignore the tremor in her coffee-steadied hands. The entanglement matrix keeps collapsing at the neural interface point. It's like trying to connect a quantum computer to a pocket calculator. She laughed tiredly. And I'm the pocket calculator. You underestimate yourself, Lyria said softly, drifting closer. Her presence cast prismatic patterns across Maya's notes. Your mind has capabilities my people haven't seen in millennia. That's why this could work. Before Maya could respond, her computer chimed with an alert. Her heart sank as she read the display. They've passed the Mars orbit. We're running out of time. We should expect contact soon. Lyria's form dimmed slightly. Nexer always did enjoy making dramatic entrances. As if on cue, every screen in the laboratory lit up with an incoming transmission. Maya's fingers hesitated over the keyboard. Ready? No, Lyria admitted, but proceed anyway. The main screen flickered to life, revealing a being that made Maya gasp. Like Lyria, he was crystalline, but where her form was graceful and luminescent, his was sharp and aggressive, edges glinting like polished obsidian shot through with veins of burning red. My dearest Lyria, Nexer's voice resonated with artificial warmth. You've led us on quite the chase. Though I must say, hiding among primitives is beneath you. Maya bristled at the insult, but kept quiet, letting Lyria take the lead. Nexer. Lyria's tone was cool. I see subtlety still eludes you. 3 warships for 1 fugitive. Warships? Nexer's form rippled with what might have been amusement. Merely escorts for your triumphant return. The crystal court grows impatient, and our union is inevitable. Why delay the inevitable? Because it's not inevitable. Maya found herself speaking up, unable to stay silent any longer. It's her choice, not yours. Nexer's attention shifted to Maya, his crystalline form darkening. Ah, the human scientist. Yes, we've detected your primitive attempts at quantum manipulation. How quaint. His form expanded, filling the screen. Stand aside, little creature. This doesn't concern you. Actually, Lyria moved closer to Maya, her light intensifying. It concerns her greatly. Maya understands something you never could, Nexer. The difference between possession and connection. Nexer's form crackled with barely contained energy. You would bond with this organic. Their lives are mere moments compared to ours. Their understanding of the quantum realm is infantile. Yet they understand love, Lyria countered. Something the crystal court forgot long ago in its obsession with power and breeding. You have 24 hours. Nexer's voice had lost all pretense of warmth. Return to us willingly, or we will take you by force. And if your human pets interfere. His form pulsed with menace. Well, their planet's quantum field is rather unstable. It would be unfortunate if something were to disrupt it. The transmission cut off, leaving the laboratory in tense silence. Did he just threaten to quantum destabilize Earth? Maya asked, her scientific mind already calculating the implications. Yes, Lyria's voice was heavy. A quantum cascade failure would tear your planet apart at the subatomic level. Nexer has always confused power with right. Maya stood up, pacing the lab as she thought. Then we don't have a choice. We have to complete the entanglement procedure before they get here. She turned to Lyria, her expression determined. No more safety protocols. No more tests. We do it now. Maya. Lyria's form flickered with concern. Without proper calibration, the process could kill you. The human brain isn't designed to handle quantum entanglement. Neither is Earth designed to handle being ripped apart at the subatomic level. Maya began powering up the quantum accelerator. Besides, you said it yourself. My mind has capabilities your people haven't seen in millennia. Time to put that theory to the test. Lyria moved closer, her light casting Maya's determined face in soft rainbow hues. You would risk your life. For me. Maya smiled, reaching out to touch Lyria's crystalline surface, feeling that now familiar surge of energy. For us. And for every being who's ever been told their choices don't matter. She took a deep breath. Also, Nexer called me primitive, and I'm kind of petty about that sort of thing. A chiming sound like crystal bells filled the lab. Lyria's laugh. You are either the bravest or the most foolish human I've encountered. Probably both, Maya admitted, making the final adjustments to the quantum accelerator. Ready to make history, or possibly end up as a really interesting physics paper. With you. Lyria's form brightened, her light intertwining with the energy fields beginning to build around them. Always. As the quantum accelerator powered up to full capacity, Maya felt her heart racing. What they were about to attempt went beyond theoretical physics, beyond known science. They were about to create something entirely new. A bridge between two species, two ways of being. All because someone decided to look at the impossible and say, why not? The lab filled with shifting quantum fields as they began the procedure, neither of them knowing if they would survive the next few minutes. But as Maya looked at Lyria, she knew one thing with absolute certainty. Some connections were worth any risk. Maya awoke to the sensation of colors she couldn't see and emotions that weren't entirely her own. The laboratory floor was cold against her back, but her mind felt expanded, as if it had grown beyond the confines of her skull. She could sense Lyria before she opened her eyes, feel her presence like a symphony of light and quantum resonance. Did it work? Maya croaked, her throat dry. Or am I hallucinating from too much coffee? It worked. Lyria's voice came from everywhere and nowhere at once, though perhaps not quite as expected. Maya finally opened her eyes and gasped. Lyria's crystalline form had changed, becoming somehow more defined yet less bound by physical space. Threads of light connected them, visible only at certain angles, like spider silk catching morning dew. I can feel you, Maya whispered, sitting up slowly. Not just your presence, but your essence. She struggled to find words for the sensation. It's like having synesthesia, but for quantum states. And I can sense your consciousness, Lyria replied, her form rippling with wonder. It's beautiful. Like watching a star being born, but in patterns of thought and emotion. Their moment of discovery was interrupted by another alert from Maya's computer. The alien ships had entered Earth's orbit. Perfect timing, Maya muttered, using her desk to pull herself to her feet. Her legs felt shaky, but her mind was incredibly clear. How long was I out? 3 hours, 27 minutes, and Lyria paused. I can sense you know the exact seconds without me telling you. 14 seconds, they said in unison, then shared a moment of startled amusement that resonated through their new connection. This is going to take some getting used to, Maya said, making her way to the computer. But first, we have to deal with your ex-suitors. Any chance they'll just accept no as an answer and leave? Before Lyria could respond, the air in the laboratory began to shimmer. 3 crystalline forms materialized. Nexar in the center, flanked by 2 slightly smaller beings who must be Valen and Crix. Oh great, Maya muttered. Turns out dramatic entrances run in the species. Nexar's obsidian form seemed to absorb the light around him. Lyria, what have you done? His voice held genuine shock as he registered the quantum threads connecting her to Maya. You've bound yourself to this temporary creature. I've chosen my own path. Lyria moved closer to Maya, their connection humming with shared strength. Something you never understood was possible. This is an abomination, Velen spoke, his crystalline form flashing with angry red pulses. It must be undone. The quantum entanglement is too deep, Crix observed, his more analytical nature showing through. Separating them would destroy them both. Then so be it. Nexar's form expanded, dark energy crackling around him. Better to lose her than let her taint our species with this experiment. Maya felt Lyria's fear through their connection, but also her determination. Without speaking, they knew what they had to do. Maya reached for the quantum accelerator's controls, while Lyria began gathering energy around them. I wouldn't do that, Maya said, her finger hovering over a button. Our entanglement isn't just with each other. We've quantum locked ourselves to Earth's core frequency. Try to harm us, and you'll trigger a cascade reaction that'll make your earlier threat look like a firecracker. You're bluffing, Nexer snarled, but Crix moved forward, scanning them with crystalline sensors. She's not, Crix announced, his form displaying patterns of concern. The entanglement extends through the planet's quantum field. Disrupting it would cause exactly the reaction she describes. Impossible, Valen protested. No human could achieve such precision. Alone. No, Lyria's voice rang with pride. But together, we've created something new, something beyond what either of our species thought possible. Maya felt a surge of confidence through their connection. You all treated Lyria like a prize to be won, a set of genetic traits to be acquired. But she's so much more than that. She's brilliant and curious and kind, and she chose to trust me, not because of power or status, but because I saw her for who she really is. Love, Nexer spat the word like it was poison, a primitive emotion for primitive beings. Yet it gave us the power to do what your advanced science couldn't, Maya countered. Face it, Nexer, you've lost. Not because we're stronger, but because we're stronger together. Through their connection, Maya felt Lyria's joy at her words, along with something deeper, something that made her heart race, and her mind fill with impossible colors. Nexer's form contracted, darkness swirling within him. For a moment, Maya thought he would attack anyway, consequences be damned. But then Crix placed a restraining tendril on his shoulder. The crystal court must be informed of this development, Crix said. These implications go beyond matters of marriage or alliance. They've changed the fundamental laws of quantum physics, Valen added, his scientific curiosity seemingly overcoming his earlier disgust. This bears further study. Study. Nexer's form pulsed with rage. They've corrupted everything we stand for. No, Lyria's voice was firm. We've evolved beyond what you stand for, and you can either accept that and learn from it, or leave and never return. Those are your only options. Maya felt the power building in their combined quantum field, ready to defend if necessary. But she also felt something else through their connection. Hope. Not just Lyria's, but a resonating hope that maybe, just maybe, this could end without destruction. Nexer looked at them for a long moment, his dark crystalline form unreadable. Then, with a gesture of pure contempt, he vanished, teleporting back to his ship. Valen followed quickly, but Crix lingered. This isn't over, he said, but his tone held more curiosity than threat. You've opened a door that cannot be closed. Good, Maya replied, feeling Lyria's agreement pulse through their connection. Maybe it's time your people learned to walk through new doors instead of guarding old ones. After Crix disappeared, Maya sagged against her desk, suddenly exhausted. Think they'll actually leave? Yes, Lyria moved closer, their quantum threads brightening. Nexer's pride is wounded, but Crix's scientific interest will win out. They'll be too busy studying what we've done to risk destroying it. Speaking of what we've done, Maya gestured between them. We should probably figure out exactly what this connection means. I keep seeing colors that don't exist and feeling quantum fluctuations in my coffee mug. Lyria's form shimmered with affection. We have time to learn. Together. Maya smiled, feeling the truth of those words in every quantum-enhanced cell of her being. They had done the impossible, changed the rules of reality, all because they dared to believe in something bigger than themselves. And now. So, Maya said, trying to hide her grin, want to help me write the most interesting physics paper in human history. 3 months after the confrontation with Nexer, Maya's laboratory had changed considerably. Quantum field monitors lined the walls, tracking the unique resonance patterns of her and Lyria's entanglement. Her old coffee maker had been replaced with something that looked like a cross between a telescope and a lava lamp, a gift from Crix, who had become an unexpected ally in their ongoing research. The latest readings are fascinating, Lyria said, hovering near their newest equipment. Our quantum signature has stabilized into something entirely unique. Neither purely crystalline nor purely organic. Maya nodded, feeling the truth of it through their connection. The bond between them had evolved beyond its initial form, becoming something that defied conventional physics. The crystal quartz scientists must be having fits trying to classify it. They are. Lyria's form shimmered with amusement. Crix's last transmission included several hundred pages of increasingly frustrated theoretical calculations. Their shared laugh resonated through their quantum bond, creating tiny ripples in the laboratory's energy field. Maya had gotten used to such phenomena. The way light bent slightly when they were happy, how quantum particles danced when they worked in perfect sync, the subtle shifts in reality that occurred when they touched. I got another email from the Nobel Committee, Maya said, pulling up her messages. They're still trying to wrap their heads around our paper. Apparently, quantum entanglement with crystalline alien consciousness isn't a traditional category. Perhaps they should create one, Lyria suggested, drifting closer. Though I doubt we'll be the last. Crix reports that several other members of my species have begun seeking connections beyond traditional crystal bonds. Maya felt a surge of pride through their connection. They hadn't just changed their own lives. They'd started a revolution in how two species viewed love, consciousness, and connection. A soft chime interrupted their discussion. The quantum communicator, another of Crix's modifications, was signaling an incoming transmission from the crystal court. Maya felt Lyria's apprehension mirror her own as they activated the receiver. The image that formed was not the harsh, obsidian presence of Nexar, but rather a delegation of crystalline beings, their forms displaying patterns neither had seen before. At their center was an ancient crystal entity whose light pulsed with the wisdom of millennia. High Elder, Lyria's form dimmed respectfully. We did not expect this honor. The unexpected has become our new normal, thanks to you too. The Elder's voice resonated with gentle amusement. The court has reached a decision regarding your unique situation. Maya instinctively moved closer to Lyria, their quantum bond humming with protective energy. Whatever you've decided, we're not separating. It's not just about choice anymore. We're literally part of each other. Peace, young one. The Elder's form rippled soothingly. We have not come to separate, but to learn. Your bond has forced us to confront truths we had long ignored in our pursuit of perfection. Through their connection, Maya felt Lyria's shock. The court is accepting our union. More than accepting, another member of the delegation spoke up. We wish to understand it. Your quantum resonance patterns suggest possibilities we never imagined. The ability to bridge not just consciousness, but entire ways of being. We have grown stagnant, the Elder admitted, focused so much on maintaining our crystalline purity that we forgot the fundamental law of existence. Evolution requires change. Their form brightened. You have shown us a new path, one we wish to explore with your help. Maya blinked, feeling Lyria's amazement mixing with her own. You want us to help you explore human crystal connections. Among other possibilities, the Elder said, we propose establishing a joint research initiative. Your laboratory would become a center for studying interspecies quantum bonds, with full support from both the Crystal Court and your human scientific institutions. Of course, another delegate added quickly, appropriate protective measures would be established. We have learned from Nexar's unfortunate reaction. He has been removed from his position and assigned to meditate on the nature of true connection in the outer colonies. Maya couldn't help but grin at that. Through their bond, she felt Lyria's mixture of relief and satisfaction. What do you think? Maya asked Lyria, though she could already feel her partner's answer through their connection. I think, Lyria's form brightened, that we have an opportunity to help others find what we discovered by accident. That love doesn't care about species, form, or physics, though it apparently does enjoy rewriting physics on occasion. Maya added, earning a chiming laugh from Lyria and surprised ripples from the delegation. The Elder's form pulsed with approval. Then it is settled. We will begin preparations immediately. Your discovery marks the beginning of a new era for both our peoples. After the transmission ended, Maya leaned back in her chair, processing the implications. So, we just became the heads of an interstellar research project on quantum love. It appears so. Lyria moved closer, their quantum threads shimmering with shared joy. Having second thoughts about changing the fundamental nature of two species' understanding of love and consciousness. Maya pretended to consider it. Nah, sounds like a normal Tuesday for us. Through their connection, feelings of love, amusement, and endless possibility flowed between them. They had started this journey as fugitive and protector, alien and human, crystal and organic. Now they were something else entirely, pioneers of a new way of being. Proof that love could transcend not just cultural boundaries, but the very laws of physics. You know, Maya said, reaching out to touch Lyria's crystalline surface, watching the quantum fields dance around them. When I was getting my PhD, I never imagined I'd end up revolutionizing physics through the power of love. And I never imagined I would find freedom by choosing to bind myself to another, Lyria replied, her form pulsing with affection. Perhaps that is the greatest discovery of all, that sometimes the path to freedom lies not in standing alone, but in choosing to stand together. As the sun set outside their laboratory, casting prismatic patterns through Lyria's form and illuminating Maya's smile, they began planning their next impossible experiment. After all, they had already proven that with enough love, science, and courage, nothing was truly impossible. The quantum accelerator hummed softly in the background, as if in agreement, while somewhere in the vast expanse of space, crystalline beings began looking at humans with new eyes, wondering what other miracles might be possible when hearts and minds dared to connect across the cosmic divide.